This week on The Breakout, we've got...
The Army's new approach to contracting.
And the Space and Missile Defense Symposium is kicking off as we speak. Welcome to the weekly Breakout. I'm managing editor Lee Farron. I'm here with
Carly Welch, Networks and Digital Warfare reporter.
We brought Carly on to talk about a big pool of money for Palantir announced late last week. This is kind of an interesting contract that was announced. What's happening?
Yeah, so the Army announced on Thursday that it is giving Palantir $10 billion over 10 years to consolidate 75 of its contracts.
75 contracts.
Yes.
Yeah.
60 of which they are subcontractors, and then 15 of which they are prime contractors.
So these aren't new contracts. It's just we're going to take all these other contracts we've doled out in the past, put them all in one big pot with a huge amount of money and a 10-year timeline.
Correct. That's correct.
So what's the idea there? Why are they doing this?
Yeah, so they think that this will help them save money. Essentially,
the Army, right?
Yes, the Army, yes. Essentially, they will kind of be buying in bulk, so that'll give them discounts. But in addition to that, yes, they're trying to buy in bulk, but they're only buying what they need.
Right. So rather than buy like individual contracts that may or may not overlap with other contracts and capabilities they have, the idea is we'll do one big thing, have a little more flexibility within that big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're kind of calling it a la carte sort of menu, if you will. You can just choose what you want instead of traditionally right now, the Army or other services will buy a really large contract with a bunch of capabilities that they don't necessarily all need. So the idea here is that you're only buying what you will actually use.
So it's interesting that comes amid a wider Pentagon push to streamline, especially software contract acquisition. What has that been like? There's a memo came out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so I mean, really since the beginning of this administration, the Pentagon has been very clear on how it wants to move forward with software. It just wants it faster. It wants to get it in the hands of the warfighters immediately.
Well, be curious to see if this is how contracts go from here on out. This is the first big one we've seen. We're definitely going to keep an eye on if this is standard practice going forward and whether the industry will like this or not. We don't know yet.
We don't know.
We'll see how it goes. All right, after the break, we can come back and talk about the Space and Missile Defense Symposium down in lovely Alabama.
At Leonardo DRS, our agility helps bring the ability to dominate in any scenario, on any platform, helping our warfighters accomplish the mission and get home safely. Leonardo DRS, our agility, your advantage.
All right, we're back. I brought in Aaron Mehta, Editor-in-Chief of Breaking Defense, to talk about the Space and Missile Defense Symposium in gorgeous Huntsville, Alabama. Why are we going to Huntsville?
Well, because it's August in Huntsville, and where else would you want to be? No,
exactly.
SMD is always hosted in Huntsville, of course, the historic center of American rocketry. And as hot as it is, probably going to be outside. Hopefully in the convention center, we got some hot news as well.
Well, hopefully we're talking about some Golden Dome news, because Golden Dome is the news in space and missile defense.
Yeah, I mean,
at least for the homeland.
Right now, missile defense across the world is kind of having a moment. Obviously, it's always been important, but the events in Israel the last couple of years, and certainly in Ukraine since Russia's invasion, have really put a greater emphasis on it. Domestically, that's also been boosted by President Trump's Golden Dome plan, which is an all-up kind of national Golden Dome around the country, missile defense network. The sexiest part of that, of course, is the space-based interceptors, which we don't know that much about because there's still new technology. Northrop, Lockheed, Raytheon have all said that they're in on this.
Yes.
But there's a lot of other parts, and everyone's pretty eager to hear more about it.
Yeah, you would expect the Space and Missile Defense Symposium to be the place to hear news about it. It's a little unclear how much we're going to learn, though, for two reasons. One is the Pentagon recently said that they don't want military officials to go to think tank events. This isn't a think tank event, but it could have a cooling effect on attendance at the show.
Yeah, the expectation is either attendance or at least interviews and talking about it. The problem, of course, with any guidance like this is it's not totally clear, and so the reaction from the Pentagon officials is let's be more conservative and make sure we don't get ourselves in trouble.
Right.
So that's going to be potentially something that happens. The other aspect of this is that Golden Dome is still very much a work in progress.
Right. And Trump has said he wants it to be ready in 3 years, but it's unclear exactly what he wants to be ready in 3 years, because if we're talking space-based interceptors, that is a long-term project.
Yeah, exactly. Now you can integrate a bunch of existing systems, your THAADs and whatnot. The big question of how this is all going to work falls to General Gutlein, who was recently named the Golden Dome Czar. He is not scheduled to speak at SMD. Now, there was an expectation he would be there because, again, this is the big missile defense thing in the country right now. But the sense is, he's still figuring it out, and he probably just doesn't want to get out there and give information that he's still figuring it out. Same time, industry is right now desperate for any information they can glom onto.
Right, and we'll have Ashley Roki, our land reporter, and Teresa Hitchens, our space reporter, will be on the ground at Huntsville, getting all the news there is to get out of the show. Remember to like and subscribe to these videos so you get them in your inbox whenever they're ready. And I believe we're on podcast.
We are. If you search The Breakout, you'll find us there.
All right, till next time, I'm Lee Farron.
I'm Aaron Meta.